Grants Media Organization, 34 Liverpool Street in Freetown. This certificate of achievement award, Mr. Ben Kefala, this certificate is proudly presented to you, Mr. Francis Ben Kefala, ESQ, Commissioner, Anti-Corruption Commission. This is in recognition of your outstanding performance in impacting transparency and accountability in Sierra Leone. This is signed by the CEO, Mohamed Sanko, dated on the 29th day of our Lord, 2024.
Thank you so much. This touches my heart in many ways. It's quite humbling to see for two reasons. One, I'm happy that all of you here are people I've known for years. In those days when I was not in public office, just a lawyer, and you follow what I have been doing up to now, and you believe that it has been a reasonable degree of consistency over a period of time. Some people ask me, they say, Ben Kefala, when you were in Renaissance movement, you were talking that this should happen, this to happen. I tell them, yes, I have transitioned, I'm now in government. This is not the time I am going to call for people to protest against the government, but hold me to account for the work I am now doing as Anti-Corruption Commissioner. And in that role, it is no longer talking, it's acting. And you have to do this with a lot of tact, with a lot of common sense, with a lot of awareness of the environment in which you are working. So with all that, and you people have testified that you believe that things are moving in the right direction, and this is one of the ways we also test the impact of our work. Like he said, you are going to offices, a lot of people, I meet people. I have traveled out of this country, I go to country and the person says, man, I went back to Sierra Leone for the first time. People are afraid to take money. I take money out, I give to somebody, the person says, no, I need to. Or sometimes I have to beg them to take. He said, I mean, they give you free. He said, that is not how Sierra Leone was run. There are offices who tell me that in our office, my friend, to sign a document, we'll pass it around, sometimes we'll pass it around, nobody is willing to send to a letter. The good thing about those testimonies is that it is the beginning of change for a country like this. It will now create a generation who are aware that certain things are wrong, and this was the thing that was lacking. It was a society where people felt like firstly they can get away with anything, and secondly they were not aware of the processes that are needed, for example, in public administration. So to have a degree of accountability in place, we are not saying when you do it, we ask you questions, we hold you accountable, and we do so publicly. And that is why you are seeing a lot of visibility from my team, who you are also praising how well they are working. And that is one of the deliberate reforms we did, because in a country like this where you have nearly 70% illiteracy, you have to be very deliberate in how you educate the public, even the display of money. I asked somebody yesterday, in your language, do you have counting up to 1 billion? Can you count from 1 to 1 billion in your language? And I asked them, is there a language in Sierra Leone that has up to 1 billion to count? It does not exist. So how do you expect that person who has not been educated in English counting to understand what you're talking about billion? Because we are aware of this. That is where once in a while we display money. And you were saying about things happening in the past. Do you know that that single recovery, that 34 billion euros, is 2 times what the ACC recovered from 2001 to 2018? That's double. Just that one recovery. When I came here, the total recovery that ACC had done, physical cash from the corrupt, was 16 billion. So a recovery of 34 billion is more than 2 times that. But now ask yourself the billions that we have collected over the past years and giving back to the government to help. But also we are holding people accountable. You heard me say the person has been convicted, we have confiscated their accounts, they have been sentenced, they have been fined, to make sure there's a reasonable degree of accountability. So I am very grateful to you and your team for coming to give me this award. I would appreciate it. I will display it like all the others I have had over the years. And all I want us to do is to continue to be committed to the fight against corruption in this area. We are grateful to the President who has created this atmosphere for this to happen, and we continue to rely on your support in your role as media and journalists to help us disseminate the information, but also to serve as whistleblowers. Sometimes you know things before we do.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the fight against corruption, that was the challenge I have. Journalists tell, oh, we don't this thing had to happen, ACC not do nothing. If ACC does not know, you knew something was wrong, why didn't you come to us? Yesterday, one journalist called me, oh, I was a whistleblower. In this case, I said, no, you are not a whistleblower. I'm not saying you did not raise alarm, but there's a difference between a whistleblower and somebody who raises alarm. A whistleblower comes to the ACC and say, there is corruption in this institution, this person is allowed. Then we say, okay, give us information. From that moment, you are a whistleblower. But if you just sit down and you write on social media and you have not contacted us, and other people bring it to us, then you say you are the whistleblower. No, you are not. But I thank you very much for all what you have been doing in support of our work, and let us remain committed to Sierra Leone. I believe very strongly, from my days as a member of the Renaissance movement to today, I believe very strongly in my heart that we can change the story of this country very easily if we remain committed to good governance and transparency and accountability. Thank you very much for this.